Hey everybody, my name is Victor Moncebaiz with Line 6, and today I'm hanging out with the guys at Kraft Music, and we're going to run you guys through the Variax Standard, show you what it's all about. And remember, for great deals on the Variax Standard, be sure to check out the bundles here from Kraft. So here's the Variax Standard. From the looks of it, it's a pretty typical solid body electric guitar. We have 3 single coil pickups, an alder body, and a rosewood fingerboard. But hosted inside the guitar, we have 28 different stringed instrument models that are choosable with the touch of a button. The Variax Standard also has the ability to retune itself completely with a flick of a switch. In order to show you guys what the Variax is capable of, we're going to set it up in 3 different ways, and to start off, I'm going to plug directly into a traditional tube amp, so nothing besides the guitar needed here. After that, we'll plug the Variax directly into an acoustic amplifier to show some of the acoustic models on it. And finally, at the end, we'll show how the Variax works in conjunction with a Firehawk effects floorboard that not only powers the guitar, but also lets you control the instrument from the floorboard itself. So diving right in, this thing will function like your standard electric guitar. 3 single coil pickups and your basic 5-way pickup selector configuration, so everything is as you would expect. However, if I press this first knob over here, our modeling knob, you'll see it light up. What that tells me is that I've disabled my magnetic pickups, and I'm running everything off the piezo bridge and taking advantage of all the modeling that's happening inside. Each position on this modeling knob corresponds to a bank of different models, and they're appropriately named, things like T-model, Spank, Lester. Each position on the 5-way selector inside of that bank will correspond to a different model, usually having to do something with that position as well. So here I might expect a Spank in the neck position, down here a Spank in the bridge. And to start off, I'll just let you guys hear what the magnetic pickups sound like. And now just by pressing the model knob, I'm going to switch over to our first model. We'll start off with the Lester model. So we just heard the Lester in the neck. I'm going to switch down to the Lester bridge. We'll hear the difference there. And to switch it up a little bit, we'll try out another model, the Spank model. We'll do here position number 2. So you can see we've captured all the mojo of that sound in position number 2 between the 2 single coil pickups, but there's no extra noise. Every model inside of Variax is completely hum-free. So next I'm going to rotate the model knob down to Jazz Box, and we'll try out a couple of the hollow bodies. So that model was our Super 400. We'll jump now to the ES 175 model. Next up, I'm going to move to the chime models. Here we have a few different models based off 6-string and 12-string ricks. And the 12-string. So as you can see, there's plenty of versatility here, and I can't think of a single guitar player that's willing to carry 28 different instruments to a gig. Here you don't have to. So like I mentioned, this is the Variax Standard, and it's the newest member of Line 6's Variax family of instruments. This one here is in white, but it's also available in black or tobacco. And the other members of the family, the JTV or James Tyler Variax guitars, only differ in hardware. All the software, all the modeling, all the alternate tuning is the same. You pick the guitar that you like the best. So you guys may have noticed an additional knob on the bottom of our Variax. Sitting down here, we have the tuning knob. Similar to the modeling knob, all we do is rotate it, and we have 11 different onboard alternate tunings that will work with all of the modeled instruments on Variax. So to let you guys hear how quickly the alternate tunings take place, I'm just going to strum the guitar open and rotate the tuning knob. So as you guys just heard, as I rotate the knob, we're running through our factory alternate tuning list. Things like down a half step and drop D, down a full step, and various open tunings from open G, dad, gad, open A. These are the factory tunings, but the Variax has the ability to overwrite and save any custom tuning that you can come up with just on the guitar itself, the feature called virtual capo, and I'll show you how that's done. So in order to use virtual capo, we have to make sure the Variax is turned on, so we'll press our model knob and make sure that it's lit up. Then, I'll press and hold the model knob for 2 seconds. You'll see both knobs start to blink back and forth, letting you know I've entered virtual capo mode. Now I'm going to choose whichever slot on the tuning knob I'd like to overwrite. Now, we can imagine the 12th fret as being the open string of our guitar. I'm going to press one note on each string, either below or above that open string, that I want the new string to sound as. For example, if I just wanted to tune down a full step, I would just bar across the 10th. That's a full step behind the 12th fret. If I wanted to do an open D tuning, I can just play a D major bar chord on that. Now I'll press the model knob again, and we can make sure that everything took the way we want it to. If it worked out, and it sounds like it did, we just press and hold the model knob again for 2 seconds. The two knobs will blink back and forth, letting me know I've saved that custom tuning into my tuning slot. And that will work with any of the instruments here. So in addition to all the electric guitar models that we have on Variax, we also have a variety of acoustic and resonator-based instruments. So I'm going to start by rotating my model knob down to the bank labeled acoustic, and we'll hear what those sound like. I'm plugging that same 1/4-inch cable now into an acoustic amplifier. Here on the acoustic bank, our 5-way pickup selector is going to give us access to 5 different acoustic models. They'll vary in body size, so you'll notice a difference in the bottom end. You'll also notice that positions 2 and 4 are actually 12-stringed instruments. To start off with, we'll start in position number 5. This is going to be based on a jumbo-sized acoustic guitar. Next, I'll do the same thing on the 12-string version. Next up, the third position, we have our parlor-sized guitar, which has a little less bottom end, so it works very well for fingerpicking. Position number 2 will be our smaller body 12-string acoustic. Now finally on position 1, we have our standard dreadnought size. So it's worth mentioning here, with all the acoustic instruments, the tone knob actually takes on a different function. So with the tone knob all the way up, it'll be mimicking a close mic thing, and some of my pick attack will be a little more present. As I roll the tone knob back, you'll hear that pick attack start to diminish. So now I've moved on to our last bank labeled resos. Here we have all of our resonator instruments, so we'll find things like our banjo and our dobro style instruments. There's also a sitar here. So starting in position 5 up on the neck, we're going to have a model based on a national resonator. Next up, we have the banjo model. Now, I know most guitar players are used to bringing a couple different instruments to the gig, but I bet you're probably not bringing a sitar along. So check this out. Position 2 on the reso bank is the sitar model. So you can see how well the Variax works on its own when plugged into a traditional amplifier, either an acoustic or an electric. However, if you decide to use the Variax with one of our Variax-enabled products, any of our floorboards like the Firehawk Effects, Pod HD 500, or our amps with a Variax input, you'll gain a whole extra amount of capabilities and flexibilities between the two products. As an added bonus, any of our Variax-enabled products will also power the guitar, so you won't be using battery power. As a side note, the included lithium-ion battery will give you up to 12 hours of playing time. So the Variax has two outputs. We have our standard 1/4 inch, which we've been using with a normal cable and just plugging directly into a guitar amp. The second input is a VDI input, or Variax Digital Interface input. Today we're using one of our upgraded performance-level Variax cables to plug the guitar into the Firehawk. Now that I'm set up and connected to the Firehawk Effects floorboard, anytime I press a button to change preset, I'm swapping out my amp models and any number of effects on the floorboard itself. It's also communicating with the Variax and telling it to choose a different model in tuning, as recalled in that preset, and that'll override any of the Variax's onboard controls. However, if I feel like going back to manual mode, simply rotating the model knob or flicking a switch will override anything I have recalled in that preset. So we'll start with a clean example using the magnetic pickups. By simply pressing a button now, I'm going to switch to an acoustic model tuned down a full step. By pressing the button yet again, I can tell the guitar to go to a Lester model tuned to drop D with a lot more gain happening in the preset. Next up, I'll switch to a Lester model in the neck with an early breakup sort of sound. So when we start using Firehawk's remote app, which is available for either iOS or Android devices, we add a whole nother level of control and flexibility. So inside of the app, you'll notice a tab labeled Variax. If we press that, that'll give us access to all the controls for the Variax itself. Here we have access to any of its models, any of its different tunings. You can even control the position of the physical tone knob when you recall the preset. Anything that we save here in the app will be recalled as part of the preset. That way, I simply press a button on the floorboard, it recalls all my amps and effect settings, as well as my guitar settings. So as you guys can see, the Variax gives you plenty of options to customize and edit right on the guitar itself. But for those of you who like to dive deeper, we have a free editing software called Workbench HD that lets you sort of mix and match just about anything Line 6 has taken the time to model on the guitar itself. So all 28 different instruments, all their associated pickups are yours to play around with. So as you can see, we have a number of different electric guitar models to choose from. All of the acoustics are included in here as well. All of the pickups are completely interchangeable. I can play around with the position of the pickups, adjusting them closer to the neck for warmer sounds or closer to the bridge for brighter sounds. I can also rotate the pickups, where certain strings will be brighter while some get a little more dull. For those of you who really like to deep dive, you have plenty of options for wiring here. You can do series versus parallel, in-phase and out-of-phase pickups. I can also actually get into the electronic values for things like potentiometers and capacitors, really dialing in the smallest level of detail. Each position on the model knob is completely overridable, but Line 6 gives you two additional banks labeled Custom 1 and Custom 2 if you'd like to save all the factories where they are and put all of your own creations into their own banks. So we'll start off and we'll show you guys how to make a model from scratch. I'll start by choosing one of the positions in Custom 1. This one happens to start with an acoustic, but I can obviously switch out for any model that I'd like to start with. If I select the pickup, that gives me the options to move it up and down closer to the neck or bridge, and also the angle of the pickup, or I can completely swap out the pickup model itself. So you can see I've added in a lipstick pickup and a P90 onto this Gretsch model. So we saw how we can adjust the custom tunings with the virtual capo on the guitar itself. In Workbench HD software, we can also adjust the tuning and save that specifically to any of the models that we're creating. So say every time I pull up a Gretsch model, I want it to automatically be an open G with no turning of the tuning knob required, I can assign that here in the software. So diving even deeper here, you can see we have access to our control values. We can change our volume and tone potentiometers to different resistances for different sounds. We can control the taper from audio to linear. And we can also control the amount of capacitance we have for our tone knob. So as you can see, I'm connected to my Mac, but this is also fully compatible with PCs. And to connect the guitar to the computer, I'm just using the included Variax cable and the Variax to USB adapter. One thing to note is if you have the guitar connected, you can hear all your changes done in real time. But you don't need the guitar connected to come up with all of your edits. You can make whatever preset you want, whatever weird alternate tunings you can come up with, and then save them to load into the guitar at a later point. All right, so that's the Variax Standard. As you guys saw, we have 28 different instrument models, 11 different alternate tunings. Everything on the guitar is completely customizable and overrideable, so it's like having an entire collection of instruments right at your fingertips, but it's a lot easier to carry. So once again, my name is Victor Moncebaiz with Line 6, hanging out here at Kraft Music. Thank you guys for taking the time and watching today's video. Take care.